Francis Ngannou has had yet another deal, this time with one championship, come crashing and burning. Something needs to change with Francis Ngannou. Something needs to change quick. Something needs to change fast because he is going to fall into irrelevancy faster and faster every single day. I do want to talk about all of this in just a second, perhaps the solution to Francis Ngannou's problems. Before we get into it, I do want to say hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's talk about Francis and one championship. So I want to read you the exact quote from the South China Morning Post. So they met with Francis Ngannou, and this is something that you could find anywhere, by the way. This is just the first thing that I clicked on for news. I met with Francis yesterday for almost 3 hours. Chitari told the Post via text message on Monday. One has decided to withdraw from the process of bidding for Francis Ngannou's services. After careful reflection, we decided to not submit our final offer. Francis is a good guy and a good champion. I wish him continued success and happiness. At the end of the day, I didn't feel Francis and I were fully aligned on non-financial matters. It's nothing personal. It's just a lack of alignment. Non-financial matters. Who could have saw this coming? The problem arose when it was time to talk money. And we already know, with everybody pulling out of deals with Francis Ngannou and Francis not being able to sign with anybody, Francis is again asking for too much money. When is Francis Ngannou going to realize that he is, and this is not factual, by the way, this is a number that I've been hearing floating around. He's been asking for over $30 million. I don't know how accurate that is, but that would not surprise me one little bit. But even if it's not that, he's clearly asking for too much money everywhere he goes. Nobody wants to sign him. It's not that nobody wants to sign him. On top of that, he's probably incredibly difficult to deal with because he's not budging. And again, we can bring this back to, I blame completely the MMA community. I blame guys like Ariel Helwani who are constantly encouraging him to leave the UFC. And the number for that was floating around. Apparently, again, don't take this as fact, the UFC offered Ngannou about $8 million, which would make him the highest paid heavyweight ever, which, why would you not take that? Could you imagine just turning down $8 million to go to work for 30 seconds and punch somebody? Oh my God, I would have no problem taking that. But of course, that's me sitting behind a desk, right? It's not Francis Ngannou, but people are encouraging Francis Ngannou to go chase the bag, and he doesn't need to do that. I couldn't imagine, one championship probably offered him so much. Same with bare knuckle. Everybody he's talked to probably gave him an offer that would make sense. Francis Ngannou is not a Conor McGregor. Francis Ngannou doesn't deserve this insane amount of money that he keeps asking for. I don't care how much you like him. Reality is he doesn't put the butts in seats that says, hey, give me over $30 million. You know? And the whole argument with, well, he's champion. He was champion of the UFC. Who cares? Really, it's, what do you want the UFC to do? They already offered him an insane amount of money. I don't get why you would want to leave the UFC. He wasn't mistreated, okay? He was getting paid an insane amount of money, and could you imagine just complaining about that money? That's where I'm at. I think everybody should be grateful for the amount that they're getting paid. There are guys that are underpaid, but Francis Ngannou was not one of them. I truthfully don't believe that. But that honestly, it's a conversation for another time. Something needs to change for Francis Ngannou, and something needs to change fast, because soon, and it's already kind of getting to the point where it's too late, nobody's going to care about him. You know, he's going to never have a fight again, and he's going to have to live off of what he's made so far. And I don't know anything about his financial situation. Of course, again, I'm just a guy behind a desk. He seems to enjoy spending money a little bit. So can he live off of what he's made so far? I hope so, because it doesn't look like he's ever going to get a fight again. He has to lower it down, whatever his offer is. He has to just take whatever some organization is giving him if he really wants to leave the UFC. And these guys probably don't have the budget that the UFC has too. I understand some people will pay more for their fighters, but still, to have it maybe a long-term deal, who knows? There is so much we just don't know about these deals, but what we do know is Francis Ngannou is asking for too much money, and he needs to change. If he wants a fight, he's not getting any younger. Ring rust will certainly not help him. One of these days, we might not see him fight at this rate until he's 40, and the MMA community completely forgot about him, because you know how those guys are. It's just whoever's winning is the guy that we all love. You know what I mean? That's how the MMA community works. Somebody starts losing, somebody starts not fighting, and we don't care about him all of a sudden. You could argue that's maybe one of the reasons why Henry Cejudo is back. People stop caring about Henry Cejudo because he's no longer champion. We've seen it time and time again with MMA fans. And when all of this blows over, if there's still years go down the road and Francis Ngannou still hasn't signed with somebody, he's just going to get less and less negotiation power. He doesn't have any to begin with, but he's not even going to have one little bit of it because no fan in the whole world is going to care about Francis Ngannou. He needs to sign with somebody, and he needs to do it fast. It'd be nice if he could go back to the UFC, but Dana White also said that we'll never see Francis fight in the UFC again. We don't know if that's because of Francis saying that he would never sign with the UFC, or Dana White was just sick of dealing with him. Don't know. I have a feeling it's more so Dana White saying that you'll never see Francis fight again, but again, he just needs to sign with somebody. Go to Bellator, go to ONE. These organizations will be happy to have him, clearly, because he is somewhat of a name. It's just he's got to lower it down. I don't get what him and his team aren't getting about this. Nobody's signing you. Hopefully, this was the punch in the face that he needed to be okay, maybe I need to just settle for something. And settling is probably for millions of dollars. I don't know. He's whatever the settlement is, whatever these organizations are offering him is probably money that if he fought a few times, he could spend a lifetime with. That's what I imagine what would happen. But of course, again, we don't know 100%. But Francis Ngannou, he's going to have to drastically change his negotiation tactics and lower down his prices because his life could be ruined over this. And it's just sad to see in general. But this is where I'll leave it up to you guys. I would love to know what you think about this whole situation and Francis and ONE Championship, the deal falling out. I'd love to know what you guys think down below. Thank you so much for watching this video on the screen right now. I have 2 fantastic MMA videos for you to watch. If you want to see more from the Clenbat channel, check them out on screen right now. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care.